So I've noticed out over the last couple of weeks there's been a little leak underneath the sink, only at times, but kind of persistent. I traced it down to the little hand pump that pumps out the sink, and I tried tightening the hose clamp there, putting another hose clamp on it. It seemed to sort of work for a while, then start dripping again. And I traced the hose from that, which joins up with the hose from the bilge pump, and where it exits the boat is just at the water line. So as you're bobbing along and heeling and rolling, that outlet goes under the water, and then the water comes into the hose and through the system, and then this persistent leak would be there at the hand pump for the sink. So what I've done instead is find a decent piece of the hose. This is that really stiff, really brittle hose, and I've cut that off and attached it to the hand pump on one end, and the other end I didn't have any kind of bungs on the boat, but I found that the end of my brush handle there was almost the right size to fit the hole, so I cut a piece of that off with my handy little saw I happen to have on board, stuck in storage, haven't used for a couple of years. Finally proved itself useful. So I cut a piece off the end of there, still a little bit loose, so I wrapped it with some duct tape, which I was able to cut with my Swiss Army knife scissors, and then whacked that into the other end of the hose, which is coming from the hand pump, and put a hose clamp on that too. And now I've tried rocking the boat severely side to side, and no more leak. I will have to replace the hose where it joins the sink and the other end where it goes into the pump, but that's no big deal. At least I found out what the problem was, and with a few bits and pieces here and jury rigging, problem solved for now. So here's the completed jury rig. At the bottom there is the hand pump for pumping out the sink, and right there is where it was leaking, where the rubber hose was very old and stiff and brittle, and the hose clamps were just kind of cutting holes in it. And the top there would be attached to the bottom of the sink, as you can see in there. And I took a middle piece of that hose out, which was still semi-flexible and able to hold a hose clamp without splitting, and attached one end there, and then my little plug fixes there. I didn't want to put the plug into the pump, because by hammering it in I might damage the pump, and that's an expensive piece of gear, one of those whale gusher hand pumps. So that's the little fix right there. The end of the broom handle, there's some duct tape in there, useful for all kinds of things. And it's also good having this a little bit higher than that, because the water pressure is less up there than it would be down there, so it kind of made sense to have the fix a little bit higher up. And I'll be buying the new fitting for the sink and replacing that in a couple of days. Thursday, May the 21st, 22nd, something like that, and we're just heading back up Harrow Tunnel Channel to Sidney, and my marina dead ahead there. Sidney Spit on the right, Salt Spring Island, Mount Maxwell straight ahead, James Island on the left there. And don't be dazzled by my bright white cabin top and cockpit. I've actually managed to get around to painting those. The deck will be next, then she'll be pretty pristine and perfect. No wind today. It was going to be a 3-day trip to Saturna, then became a 2-day trip because of a family commitment, then a 1-day trip because Wednesday was kind of cold and cloudy and not very pleasant. So I went down to Darcy Island again, and powered mostly yesterday and powering all the way back today. It's supposed to be spring when we get our winds here in the Gulf Islands, but I'm not seeing it. But it's still beautiful out here. and nothing else I'd rather be doing. The engine's just thrumming along at 2200 revs, and we're doing about 4.5 knots. Just a nice gentle speed, not too loud as you can tell. I've got my little self-steering there, gear there, just countering the port push of the engine because the propeller is spinning clockwise, causing us to turn to the left. A little bit of left rudder will cause us to balance out and go to the right. Every couple of minutes, well, every 10 minutes, I have to push one way or the other to get back on course. It's not perfect, but it allows me to do stuff like this. I came up and tidied up the ropes, got those all ready for packing, got my dock lines ready, and my forward line there for pulling the boat around once the nose is in. More later. Up at the boat here, May 24th, to paint my decks, the final coat of the polyurethane deck coating. The marina has a place here where people just leave stuff they don't want anymore by the front gate. I found this beautiful bell and I've just installed it. It's great, it actually just slides out of there so I can put it away so thieves don't take it. Kind of useful too. In fog, the signal would be 2 dings every few seconds. So I kind of like it. Very handsome, fits the boat very well. May 24th, the 4th coat of deck paint has been applied. She's kind of now looking similar to how she's going to look when she's finished. The wood's done, the decks are done. Looking very, very nice, I think, compared to how she looked at the beginning. I'll have to dig up the old before video. Still a few things to be done, but all in all, looking pretty fine. I made the mistake of using the textured paint on the decks. It's got 3 coats of those, so very, very rough, and that gets really dirty, traps all the dirt. So I've got 1 coat of the non-textured stuff on now. Another coat of that should make it really smooth and nice looking, with still a bit of grip for your shoes. Now the one big thing is, wherever the deck meets the wood, it's a very, very rough job right now. My intent is to do a 1 inch or so white bit of paint there at the bottom, done with proper tape cutting in, so it's perfectly even and nice. Do that all the way around, and then we'll be pretty much almost done. I see now I'll have to redo these light boxes at some point, coming soon. I know the boom needs doing too, as does the boom gallows. That's the thing there the boom is resting on. Looking very dull and chipped and worn, as we can see there. So that's a couple of winter projects there. Take those pieces off, take them home, do them in my spare time or when I'm recovering from my upcoming knee replacement surgery. But as I've discovered, that's a big part of enjoying a boat, is all the work you do on it to make it look really nice and sail really nice and be well equipped and be something you can enjoy and be proud of.